allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Presentation. MHS students.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Dow Chemical internship.
So this evening we have with us 5 Marlborough High School students who took part this summer in a work-based learning experience at Dow Chemical. And tonight they're going to talk about their experiences. The purpose of this presentation is twofold. First of all, to demonstrate the impact of this industry-related experience on their college and career pathway. Secondly, to demonstrate in a practical way the hands-on way that the STEM kit can be used to grow STEM engagement in the community, specifically among our second graders at Jarwick on Thursday of this week. So I'm going to begin by introducing Laura Prutian to come on up and frame the project. She's our STEM career specialist from Pathways for a Skilled Workforce. I'd also like to recognize Kelly French from PSW as well, who's here with us this evening, and Dan Riley, our STEM director. So thank you for being here. Mrs. P?
Thank you, Maureen. Partnerships for a Skilled Workforce, along with Marlborough Public Schools, is creating stronger employer partnerships to help all students become career ready. This summer, PSW worked with partner employers to create on-site internships at the City of Marlborough, UMass Marlborough Hospital, Raytheon, Geisel Software, National Grid, Hologic, and Dow, which we are highlighting tonight. Dow has been committed and innovative, a committed and innovative industry partner with PSW Inc. and Marlborough Public Schools. Paul LeBaume and Phil Hustad are chemists at Dow who have a passion for exposing students to STEM. Their collaboration with PSW and MPS has helped us reimagine ways to connect school and work. Under their leadership, the Dow STEM ambassadors have judged and presented at the STEM Expo, hosted 9th grade STEM tours, hired STEM interns, and consulted with teachers and staff. In June 2015, Paul LeBaume of Dow was the keynote speaker at the 4th annual STEMI Awards. He shared his personal story of being mentored for the very first time. A college chemistry professor noticed his strength in science and challenged him to stop floating through the middle, but instead to harness his power and excel. So Paul urged all the Marlborough STEM students that night to recognize their resources and to always have a mentor in their life, someone who can inspire you, encourage, and help you unleash your potential. And as he said, like Ben Franklin says, do not be afraid to fail, to innovate, and to take action. So a year ago, Paul LeBaume wondered how we would expand our impact. And so a new work-based learning collaboration was born, which puts high school students to work and gives younger students access to STEM learning. Now I'll introduce our leader, Kevin Dos Santos. Kevin?
Hi everyone, I'm Kevin. I'm a senior in Marlborough High School. My role in this project was as a student leader. As I've experienced through this whole summer, I worked with Abby Raboge, and we were the teachers in this project, and we were teaching second graders, and that's my goal in life because I want to become an educator because I want to inspire kids like I've been inspired by others like through this project.
I'm Abby Roberge, and I am a junior in Marlborough High School. Even though I have not been in STEM, I have done experiences with project-based learning through IWDC, Club at Marlborough High School. And I want to be a educator when I grow up, and working with these kids helped me just kind of has increased that position. While Kevin and I taught the kids, Syra Katoch had helped observe and kind of determine what help we needed to fix.
I have been STEM since 6th grade. I'm now a junior in Marlborough High School. My role for this project was to observe Kevin and Abby's lesson to the 2nd graders, and I jot down notes that will help Kevin and Abby know what to improve on if they're going to present this project to another group of 2nd grader. And my dream goal is to become a computer engineer because I love dealing with softwares and computers. And the next slide, as you could see, is photos that were being taken when Abby and Kevin were presenting the kit to the 2nd graders. And I took down notes, and what I observed is the first day, the kids that knew English were much more excited compared to those that were EL students who doesn't know English. They were less quiet. So a suggestion would be to engage the EL students more, because the purpose of this project is to get all the students to learn chemistry and have fun with it. And before me observing all of this, Kylie Craig had created all of these.
So I'm Kylie Craig. I've also been in STEM since 6th grade. My role in this project was mainly to, we had a lot of failures throughout the project. It called for using sugar instead of, so we had 2 salts and then we had a sugar, and the sugar was not working, so we had to substitute it for borax. And we also tried many different papers, so it was a little frustrating at the beginning, but it worked out. Also, me and Courtney, we made worksheets, and we came up with flashcards to engage the students more. This internship helped me kind of think about what I want to do, and I want to excel in the medical field. Oh. These are some examples from when we went to Jarwick. These 2 are from the ELL kids, and they actually did better than the regular students.
I'm Courtney. So I've been in STEM since 6th grade, and my role on this team was to come up with these worksheets and to work with the rest of the team to figure out the best way to create this kit to get it to someone who doesn't understand chemistry, doesn't have to have any background, and will be able to teach a classroom of 2nd graders, whether they all speak English or don't. So on Thursday, we will be bringing one of these kits to Jarwick and teaching a classroom so that the teachers will then see how they can take this kit in the future and teach any class. So this experience as a whole has, as with the project learning, along with all the other experience in STEM, has put me on my path to wanting to become a Disney Imagineer. Questions?
Questions from the committee? Any questions from the committee? Ms. Bowden-Henninger.
So those students that you're teaching there, was that in the summer? So were they summer school students? Who were the students that you were teaching?
Yes, it was towards the beginning of August, I think end of July. Sorry,
That's
got
okay.
confused there. What was your other question? Was that it?
No, just who were the students? Were they in summer?
Graders.
Second graders.
In summer school.
A summer school.
So the first day we got, just regular students coming for summer. I think just extra practice during the summer, and then the second day that we had the presentation and the whole project, it was for ELL students. So on that day, that was the day that we got amazed the most, because we could see that they wouldn't understand as we spoke, but they could understand as we moved our hands, as we walked around and showed them pictures, had them drawing, you know. So it was an amazing experience then.
Fabulous.
Any other questions?
Any other questions from the committee? Thank you all very, very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, I have a quick question for Mr. Cleary. They want to make sure that their trip to Jarrick is excused on Thursday.
Oh.
Thank you.
Do they want these back? Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I think they probably, well, the kids are sitting there, so they'll have to come
One
back.
of the kids. Student activity accounts.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I asked Principal Cleary to come tonight just to give the school committee an update on the student activities for the high school. We recently have had audits on some of our accounts, and they recognize that one area we could get better is expressing to the school committee what the student activities are, what they're doing, what they're used for, so that way the school committee has an opportunity to review the list and ask any questions of the principal for the student activities.
Sorry to interrupt.
One more.
Sorry. Sorry about that.
No problem. So what we're doing tonight is we're just bringing forward a list of student activities for the high school that they generally fundraise money, keep it in their own account for these student activities, the fund for that purpose. And Principal Cleary has put together the balance as well as the projected fundraising and the notes of the fundraising, if applicable, for the clubs, for the school committee just to take a look at and see if there's any questions. This should be a yearly thing that every year we should be bringing forward the clubs to the school committee. So that way, if there are any questions, that we can answer them at this time. I'm not sure if Principal Cleary has any other comments.
I don't have, no, Mike, you captured it really well, actually. So basically, it's just a summary of all the clubs, their balances as the beginning of the year, fundraising projections for the year, knowing that some of these fundraising goals can change. So this is preliminary, and a lot of the clubs haven't been quite finalized yet in terms of their boards and so on. So this is preliminary information.
Any questions? Ms. Matthews?
Thank you, Mr. Cleary, for this. I know I'm going to go back to historically when we were in negotiations, it actually came up in conversation because it is, most of these are stipended positions and they come before it. And I want to thank you because we've never seen this list before in this way. One of the questions I still have outstanding is, and I realize it's under the guise of the principal, but it's, as an example, I know you've asked for additional clubs. But I guess the determination of where that bar is met with the needs of an advisor of moving forward, and how we as a committee can support or provide you with what you need, but at the same time maintain that everybody's getting the correct access.
Terrific question. My simple answer is that we try to pilot stuff to get a sense of how many kids are going to be interested and involved. So last year, with Shannon McNulty, she was the advisor, essentially the lead advisor for the clubs. She was the point person for all the clubs. She and I had worked together to put together a handbook, an advisor handbook, that kind of outlined and spelled out all the details relative to the responsibilities of a club advisor, including kind of goals for the year, projections, objectives, membership, attendance, all that stuff, to kind of bring some measure of oversight to the club process. And there are steps along the way that people have to follow. In addition, one of the pieces that came up was part of the audit that was completed around the time of my arrival. So we took the information from that audit and embedded that in the handbook as well to make sure that monies were handled appropriately. So as part of that, Shannon and I had talked about what a process would look like in terms of approval for clubs. And it's not uncommon that I would have students that'll come to me with an idea. And I know you've heard Jeff Radzinski speak of this a lot relative to athletics, and I've said something similar about clubs, is that anything that keeps our kids and brings our kids into schools is a good thing. Absolutely. So I'm going to try to support as many clubs as possible. And in fact, every class meeting, when I did my piece with the clubs, the focus was on get involved. There's not a club that you like, then come down and see me. And get an army of kids together, and let's see if we can get one up off the ground. There are plenty of teachers that would love to support kind of being an advisor to a club and so on. So then from there, we monitor that over the span of a year and see how attendance is, how people are arriving, what their goals are, that kind of thing. And then if it's successful, which is to say if number of kids are attending, I don't have a floor or a ceiling on that. But if we have a consistent number of attendees and they're doing good work, Habitat for Humanity is one example. And you saw some tweets that went out there for students that are part of that club. And that was kind of in pilot phase and then moving forward. And so that's more or less how we go forward. And then I'll come forward to school committee or to Mike, more importantly, in terms of the process, to say, hey, I'd like to approve this club for funding.
Terrific, thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions? Any other questions, Ms. Bodenhenger?
What's Dinner by Design?
Dinner by Design was a cooking club. So last year was the first year that it went beyond pilot, and the advisor that was most connected to that had actually left the district. So we're trying to kind of get someone else who's a foodie to be involved with that. But essentially the kids would meet after school and cook different items, whether or not they were multicultural, things that they wanted to cook, but basically kind of teaching them some of the cooking skills that they might want to develop.
And do they do that at the school?
Yes.
Awesome.
Any other questions? Any other questions?
No.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for this.
Thank you.
Yes,
Sure,
thank
no
you.
problem.
It's really
Thank you.
great to see this.
Appreciate it. Sure. I left the microphone on. Do you want me to turn it off?
That's fine, yeah. You can turn it off, in case we get feedback. Committee Director, Superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to begin by welcoming our new school committee representative from Marlborough High School. I'd like to introduce Susan Rambridge. She's a 12th grader, and I would like to give her an opportunity to tell us a little bit about herself.
Okay. So, I'm Susan, as she said. I'm part of the music program mostly at school, so I support that, go music. I was also part of the STEM program, and yeah, I really like music, so.
Do you play an instrument or do you sing?
I play the bass clarinet in wind ensemble and marching band, but marching band this year I am a drum major, so I conduct. And I'm also in chorus, and I'm the president of our Tri-M Music Honor Society.
Welcome.
Excellent.
Welcome.
Thanks.
Thank you. And your nameplate will be ready by the next meeting. So.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. So to continue with my report, last Thursday, Mayor Vigil and I completed the round of visits to all of the schools in the district. We visited the ECC, Hildreth, Whitcomb, and Marlborough High School. On September 1st, we visited the 3 elementary schools. At each site, the principal or director led us on the tour of classrooms, walking and talking with us about their pride points and highlights, and frequently their overcrowded situation. We found energized staff, engaging lessons, and smiles and shiny, shiny floors. A tip of the hat to the custodians and the crew working in the buildings over the summer to make it so beautiful. So thank you to the mayor for accompanying me, and to all of those who hosted us. It was time well spent, at least I thought so.
It was great, yeah. Just seeing people in the classrooms, and when we go in and read, you see one classroom. We tried to hit 5 or 6 in each school, and just to see the different classrooms, different teaching styles, and the kids were really good.
They were
really
fantastic.
Good.
It was great. They think that he is the mayor of the world. The teachers would introduce
So does he.
us.
Oh,
It sounds
Did I say that out loud?
What do you think they got?
from the mouths of babes. Thank you. Let me continue. Let me continue. Thank you. The radio conversion is complete, the final phase of the radio conversion that you've been hearing about for a year or so. The antenna was delivered recently to the dispatch unit. The 7 handheld radios were also delivered to Marlborough Police and Fire. So we should be up and running very soon so that the schools are compatible with the emergency services with respect to our equipment. And there's going to be a final test of all the equipment soon that Mr. Bergeron is trying to get a meeting of all the parties together. Chinese...
Can I just
Sure.
interject on that? I want to thank you very much. You, Mr. Bergeron, Don Cuson, the police and fire chief, you know, as you said, this has been hanging out there. We kept hearing how it's complete and we're getting there and we're training and everything, and we need to get this done ASAP and make sure that everyone in the schools is safe in case there is an incident. So thank you very much for pushing it over the line.
Welcome. Thank you. We're happy to report we have 9 students at the high school this year enrolled from China through our partnership with the Cambridge Institute of International Education. 2 of them are seniors, the rest are freshmen, so it's quite a split there. These students are living with host families from the area. I'd like to say a special thank you to our Mandarin teacher at the high school, Xiaoshu Jing, for the role she plays. The students touch base with her every day. Just to have someone who speaks the language with them fluently and knows sort of the struggles that they have coming from another country. We look forward as a community getting to know these students over the course of the year, supporting their efforts as they immerse themselves in our American culture and the ways of a Panther. Student dashboards. In your packet, you have a sample. We've been talking about these for a while, but they finally rolled recently. The core academic high school teachers all received a digital copy of the data dashboards for each student on their roster over the weekend, along with the information sheet that's also in the packet, a little bit of a cheat sheet on how to read them and what is contained in the data dashboard, as well as a 2-page explanation on the DESI Early Warning Indicator System, which is known as EWIS. Middle school teachers will receive this data by the end of the week. Elementary will get their data by Monday, September 20th. We want to thank data consultant Chris Hoddle, who brought together this data from many different sources into this handy one-pager, and he conferred with administrators and central office staff about what exactly should be the elements included, what would be the most helpful in this particular effort. The goal of these data dashboards is very simply to assist teachers in differentiation, to appropriately apply scaffolding for specific learners, to craft personal instruction, to intervene early with the students. And if you take a look at the dashboard, this is a sample of a high school one, and as we roll them out, I can include in subsequent packets the middle school and the high school. So clearly the middle school and, the elementary would not have your AP scores or your PSAT scores. But if I'm a teacher, I want to know how many days someone was absent over the past 2 years or tardy. I want to know, and you can see the warning in yellow or red with respect to their SAT scores, their MCAS history, their course grades. If you look at the packet, the EWIS milestones tell us an awful lot, and the data has proven that students who don't pass 3rd grade state assessments are 3.7 times less likely to graduate. So it is important to take a look at this data along the 4 benchmarks: 3rd grade, 6th grade, 9th grade, and then high school. So we are really, really happy that we're rolling this out this year. It fits perfectly well with district goal number 1. And School and Community Communications Coordinator, finally. We have had a search committee comprised of, I'd like to thank these people, our new HR Director, Patty Brown, the Executive Director, Mark Kerbel, ELL Director, Lynn Medallion, Principals Sanborn, Stanley, and Daniels, ECC Director, Andy Burnaby, Beth Wagner, and myself. We interviewed several candidates for this position, and after asking our candidates to come back for a second round, we did arrive at a finalist. And I have to say, Beth did a great job in creating a writing prompt to differentiate in that second round a real-world, authentic experience. And we wanted to see how the candidates responded, what kind of a quick press release that they could put out, and we were very pleased with the results of the candidate that we have chosen. So at your place, you have a 2-page resume. I've blackened out some confidential information. I'm happy to introduce Raina Rago, who's going to tell us a little bit about her background. Thank you, and welcome, Raina. And that is not on, so I think you want to.
There we go.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody, and I want to thank the committee for supporting this position. I'm very excited about it. I'll just give you a snapshot of who I am and where I'm from. So I currently live in Westboro. I just moved there a year ago. Formerly, I was a resident of Grafton, where I raised both of my children, and I was very involved in the school district. I was a member of the School Improvement Council meeting for two terms, which was 8 years. So it really gave me a really good sense of the dynamics of a district and how people work together to accomplish goals. And prior to becoming a teacher, I'll sort of step back in time. For my first, I guess, 14 years of being in the business world, I was in corporate communications, where I was a public relations official, officer, and then a director in various levels like that for Bose and Reebok and Rockport. Enjoyed it very much, was certainly embracing a lot of what it means to brand a company and product. Found my way into education through my love of my children and got my master's in education, and then continued doing that career, which I've been doing for the last 14 years, 8 of which have been spent at AMSA, which is just down the street, the Advanced Math and Science Academy, where I've spent a lot of time in the classroom with students, but a lot of time understanding how schools work, and got very involved in helping the school develop a web presence, as well as a mentor program. So my love of children and learning couples really nicely with my background in communications. And I was so excited when this position became evident to me. I thought, my goodness, how many times do you get 2 things that match so well? So I'm just couldn't be happier. And I'm very thankful to Beth and to Maureen for having faith in me. I hope I can serve the committee well, and I look forward to getting to know each and every one of you. And if you have any questions.
Thank you. Any questions from the committee? Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Aboard.
Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Its start date is September 20th, Monday, September 20th, so.
Great, thank you, welcome.
Sorry, 19th, and by 20th I meant 19th, thank you. There's one more handout that I have for your reading pleasure, and that is the staff mandated training, a PowerPoint of the mandated training for you to see. We have a sign-off on every single staff member who has taken this training. It is very important that we keep these accurate records. Anyone who's new to the district, a hire after the start date, goes through HR to make sure that this is taken. So I wanted you to see the handout if you haven't seen it for a while. It's been updated. And that concludes my report.
Any questions for the superintendent? You do.
The Chinese exchange students, so when they come as a freshman, what do they do next year?
They go back.
They do.
They do. They go back as a sophomore, yes. And the seniors, they take the requisite tests for graduation, and they sometimes matriculate to a college locally, or.
Which I knew a couple of them went
Sure.
to college
Yes.
after graduating last year.
Yes.
But I guess I didn't realize that so many of them were coming at younger grades.
They are.
And then they just go back, so it's just a year-long educational experience.
Much younger. Mr. Bergeron, I made a visit over to the Massachusetts International Academy about a month ago and talked with the director there. Much younger they're coming. So it just seems to be a trend. Yep. Thank you for the question.
Thank you. I have to say I was really happy to see the mandated training, like actually see the PowerPoint that you all have put together. Is this something that would be available up on our website just as a point of reference? Because I think actually for me it was kind of good to walk through. We've talked about it, but to see that there is definitely discussion relative to bullying plans, Title IX. You know, there has been a lot of discussion out in the media about gender identity issues and such. And I don't know, I kind of thought it was good for the community. Not that a lot of people are going to look at it, but to understand that we are covering off on a lot of these issues.
At this point, I don't believe it is there, Beth, no. But certainly we can think about that and find an appropriate home for it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Primary and elementary education report.
Mrs. Murphy? Yes.
Good evening. If you look around the room, you will see evidence of some of the mentoring programs that have been going on here within the last few weeks. The Marlborough Public Schools last year redesigned our induction program, so we now have a 2-year program. Recently, we trained 35 mentors and matched them with over 35 new staff members that qualified for a mentor. And so there were 70 people in this room launching our official mentoring program for the 2016-2017 school year. That's just one part of the mentoring that we do in Marlborough. We also have an administrative mentoring program, and we have a para-educator mentoring program as well. So there's all 3 programs are launching within the next week or so. The second phase is designed to continue to support new staff in the second year of employment, so that it's not just a 1 year, here is all the support, but we have the new teacher course that we also offer to anyone just entering our district that has experience in another district, or our veteran teachers. Every once in a while, a veteran teacher wants to join us as well. And we had 28 people come to the first class. We've had a couple of people that may join us. After that, we heard from, but that will continue through the year for up to 12, a minimum of 12 classes with potential for makeup classes that will go into June. For that, we are using the text Teach Like a Champion 2.0 and Teach Like a Pirate. Professional development I wanted to just address because we have a few new models that are going to be expanded throughout this school year to align with some of our implementation for our core literacy program that we're putting into place K through 5. So for foundations, which is our multi-sensory language instruction based on the Wilson Reading Program, that is for K through 2, and we're going through a coaching model for that. So Wilson trainers are coming into our schools, and they're going to be modeling lessons. They're going to be watching teachers use the foundation programs. They're going to be giving feedback, and they're going to be meeting with teachers. So therefore, giving them all the support for true implementation this year. They're going to have additional coaching in place in our one focus school for foundations, and that's going to be Richer School. But Kane and Jarrick are also getting coaching as well. For Go Math, we're using a similar model, and we're going to have coaches go in, and that support, the main coaches for that support will be happening at Kane School, with staff from Richer and Jarrick being able to join the coaching and the lessons that are going on there. So therefore, we have spread out our resources. In addition to that, we also have professional development going on with our journeys. So we're doing multi-layers and between professional development days and in-class support as well. Just a little bit different. Finally attached is evaluation focus areas to the report, and these are the focus areas that will be sent out to all staff members in Marlborough Public Schools, saying that these are aligned to our goals for the 2016-2017 school year. It's a little different because usually we have always focused on standard 1 and 2, curriculum planning and assessment, and teaching all students. But this year we have a district goal, and that we really want to align everything that we're doing this year to our district goals, and it's a family and community engagement. So we added two-way communication as one of our focus areas for the year. So those were attached for your reading pleasure. Any questions?
Question from the committee, Senator.
Sorry, actually, I just wanted to compliment you all. I'm really excited to see about that professional development and having some of the professionals coming in to support with the Wilson Reading and the Go Math. So I'm really excited about that, and I'm sure if I am, I'm going to get the teachers probably really are, but that's great to see, because I think having them integrated throughout the year helps to have additional peer that aren't there every single day.
Absolutely.
So,
Yep.
thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
So my first question is about the mentor-mentees. You said it's going into year 2. Do they stay together for both years, or do they switch up?
So when we talk about the mentoring program, we talk about having a mentor in the building, which is then a match, which is a stipend position. But there's also layers. So we have district support for the new staff as well, which the point people are Mark and I for that, and building level. So all those pieces are into place. But when we transition to the second year, it's more about, you still have the relationships for your mentors. It's not the same weekly, it's more of that, but also more of district support is always here. So Mark and I are going to be their point people and working with their principals to make sure that there's a leadership team supporting them as well. So it's a slight transition.
And also, I'd like to thank you about the adding in the community engagement, family and community engagement. I mean, I know it's one of your goals, and I know that if we don't address it more, we're never going to meet the academic goals that we need to. And so starting it with the teachers and the families all the way on up, I think is critical. So,
which is really interesting, because when on new staff orientation, and Mark will be talking about it in a few minutes, we asked all the new staff, we shared all the goals, and we asked them what their priority was. And they all identified, a majority of them, that it was the family and community, that it was something that they're coming to us and they really believe in, and they know that connection's important. So it was really nice to see.
Which says something about the people that we're hiring.
Absolutely, and we told them that repeatedly.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Excellent, thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Secondary education report.
Dr. Kerbel.
Thank you. Nice to see everyone. I'm going to talk about 3 things. The summer professional development, new staff orientation, and that new partnership with Merrimack College. So in your packet, you should have backup material for all 3 areas. Mary and Maureen arranged the summer professional development prior to me coming on board. And so we did have 14 mini course offerings that were held during the summer. Approximately 133 staff members were involved. We'll know more as we get our final tally sheets. I want to do is just mention just some of the courses that were run. Teaching in deep comprehension, brain-focused strategies for learning, conversing with young writers, understanding basic learning profile of all students, and special education 101. So I just gave you the brief highlights. In your packet, there are longer descriptions for each one. So I want to thank all the presenters and the leaders of the mini courses that were involved. So thank you to them. The new staff orientation, first of all, before I forget, I wrote this down, we couldn't have done it without Patty Sabilio and Donna Marshall, so I know Mary and I wanted to thank them for all the work that you don't see, which is quite a bit. All the papers, all the binders, everything that's put together, it's because of them. Mary and I were very excited to greet 56 new members of our school community. And to start off, all of our administrators were there, our teacher leaders, our mentors. So it was a terrific showing. And Maureen greeted all the new staff. The mayor gave a warm welcome. Heidi, were you? I believe Heidi was there in attendance. Did I miss anybody else? Okay. So I want to thank you for that. Throughout the day, we had a very tight schedule for our new folks over a 2-day period. And I'll just give you some highlights. Mary and I talked to the staff about the expectations for teaching in Marlborough, our district goal And some services that we have, special education services, 504, health services, ELL services, and mental support for our students. The staff then took a bus tour of the city with City Councilor Don Landers, and someone asked if they were stopping off at Dairy Queen, so we laughed and we said no, but they did, thanks to Don. He bought all of the ice cream for that day and beyond. So on day 2, staff learned, it was more nuts and bolts, so they learned about the salary and benefits and how they would be evaluated and how to access the management system. Very important, retirement benefits and saving for retirement. And some other things. It was very, very tight schedule. I want to thank all the departments, all of the leaders, Mike Bergeron and his department, the special education department, human resources. So thanks to everybody that were involved in the 2 days. Lastly, our partnership with Merrimack College. This is new. So we have entered into a memorandum of agreement. So if I was sitting in your shoes, I would be saying, where's the MOU? And so Merrimack doesn't have one as of right now. They had one, but it changed. And so they're in the process of changing it. But meanwhile, we have been involved with a representative from Merrimack. So teachers who are interested in pursuing a master's degree in education have a choice of one of 4 pathways. And those pathways are a master's in curriculum and instruction, elementary education, English as a second language, and modern disabilities. For our teachers who are interested in getting a master's online, it's a $50 reduction per credit. So over the course of the 36 credit master's program, they would save about $1,800. That's pretty favorable if we look at other master's programs, Salem State, Endicott College, Cambridge College. So I looked at a few others, and so that's pretty favorable for our staff. Just a couple of highlights with that. The program was approved by the Department of Education. Like, these courses are 8-week modules, so teachers take these 8 weeks one at a time. And there are 6 starting dates. So instead of typically you have a fall, summer, or a winter start, so there are 6 starting dates throughout. It's all driven by a cohort. Everything is online. So teachers, as we like to say, can get their masters in their pajamas. So what will happen tomorrow, all information will be disseminated to the staff tomorrow or by Wednesday. Meanwhile, we're in constant contact with the representative from Merrimack, and we're in good shape. Any questions?
Questions for the committee? Mrs. Hennessy.
Thank you. So clarification, if I might. Teachers or all staff? Just trying to understand, like, is this something that other staff members that are looking to further their education?
I would say all staff.
Well, that's why I just wanted to
I would say
clarify
all
this.
staff.
You used both terms, and I thought I'd better ask that question. and
I'm
make
glad
sure.
you asked.
So it really is something that some folks that, in some cases, are looking to go further.
I think like any program, there are requirements to get into a program.
Right.
So I think if, once a person meets the requirement,
Okay.
I don't see why that would be a problem. But good question.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Carvel.
Minutes of the August 30th, 2016 meeting.
Motion to approve is presented.
Motion made and seconded to approve. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Carries. Public participation. Any public participation? Public participation. Seeing none. Assabet Valley Collaborative Representative. We need to take a vote to appoint our superintendent to the Assabet Valley Collaborative to be our representative. I know Ms. Grulich passed the grueling exam.
Did.
Took you a while to get through it, but she passed with flying colors, and I believe you received 100.
I believe I did.
Unbelievable.
Say so.
Motion to approve.
Motion made and seconded to approve. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Carries. School Committee Secretary.
Okay,
Okay.
so, everyone should have received some edits, both from the mayor and from Patty Brown. And I didn't get Patty's until like an hour before the meeting because of work. So I haven't condensed them. Did you get it? You didn't get the, okay, well, I can make sure you get it. Hers were pretty much wordsmithing kinds of, and just editing. I think the mayor's, some of the things that you had suggested that we address are new issues, you know, like, we don't discuss, when I put this together, I did not talk about hours and pay and that sort of thing, because I figured that took more of a conversation, as well as requirements and experience for candidates. We didn't really talk about any of that. So I would like to finish this tonight. I want to post this tomorrow. Right, so how do you want to handle it?
If you can have Patty or whomever put it together or finalized and then post it.
Yeah, I mean, the wordsmithing part that's the easy part. It's more, we need to answer the questions, you know, how many hours is the position gonna be? What's the pay? And you can tell us how much we have. Mr. Bergeron,
We don't currently have anything budgeted for this position because it was cut. However, we anticipated this was going to happen.
Yeah.
So we can definitely transfer funds from the salary reserve to cover this.
Do you have a recommendation as far as salary or hourly rate or?
For a full-time 1.0, our starting salary is $40,000 for a 12-month clerk. I would assume this would be a 12-month position. I'm not sure if you're looking at a 10-month or 12-month position.
I think originally, didn't we have 12,000 or 15,000?
It was
Yeah.
12,000.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
that
12.
if I can jump in on that one, my only reaction is that I don't think this is gonna be full-time to that kind of capacity where it would warrant, that kind of a salary, because the time is gonna be it's gonna fluctuate.
oh, certainly not a 1.0. I mean, I was thinking more of a
I-
0.5,
I was
but,
giving the range of salary
yeah,
for our
yeah.
current contractual agreement.
Agreed.
I thought you guys were looking at a 0.5. I'm not sure.
ish,
Or something around there.
maybe 0.4. And, I mean, we did do considerable work in policy over the summer. If that seems like it's gonna be a trend, we might want some support during the summer. But, I mean, this is gonna be a non-affiliated position, so it does, you know, do we have to? Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's.
Does it have to be defined as a 10 or a 12, or is it just an hourly?
Kind of at the will of what our needs are.
We could certainly do
reason.
an hourly employment agreement for a non-unit staff member. Generally, the ranges that we start at and similar type jobs are between $18 and $23 an hour, so.
I think that's more likely what we would
Yeah.
fall into, just.
I would think so too. I mean, during the year, you know, there's some finite tasks in terms of the meetings that are already set. So what do you got?
So 20 times 15 hours weekly is about 15,600.
And I'd say it probably is going to average less than 15 hours, probably.
A week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
on average.
So we'll probably need somewhere in the area of $15,000. We can use $20 an hour. As far as some of the description and qualifications, I'm willing to say,
Make it up.
put it together, and I'm good with it. The only other thing that I didn't pass along was a lot of the stuff, responsibilities and knowledge and ability, some of it got a little, you know, blah,
Wordy.
blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
You know,
and
so
Patty
Patty
cleaned
did say
some of
that.
that
If you
up.
wanna
Yeah,
eliminate
and
some of it, I'm okay with that too.
I cut and pasted from already existed stuff, so I didn't put as much wordsmithing into it as I probably should have. Yeah, and, you know, your point of taking like number 13 out,
Yeah.
agreed. Yeah, when I reread it, I was like, oh, yeah, that's, so.
Are we good?
So 15 hours,
Up to 15 hours?
up to 15 hours.
$20 an hour.
$20 an hour. Anybody concerned about educational requirements, per se? I mean, we know that they need to have computer knowledge. It would be great if they understood all the school systems, but, you know, chances are that's not going to be the case. Hopefully, quick learner.
I think I would, now that I've had a chance to see, thank you very much for forwarding it to me. Patty Brown's additions around the computer skills. I think definitely that was one of the things that I thought was it, not just word processing and desktop, but needed to make sure it was all Office.
Yeah.
Office
It was
and-
sort
and
of-
Google Drive.
Sort of an antiquated
Yeah,
thing.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that change.
Yep.
That was on my list.
And a bilingual preference.
Would be nice.
It would be nice.
I'm gonna ask this question, just.
Ask away.
Are they, do we need to have some form of a requirement where they're gonna actually have their own computer access, or are we gonna need to figure that out, folks?
I would assume we'll have to give them computer access.
Well, that's why I'm asking the question, because it just, you know,
Is
that
there a
we have
reason-
to
is
assign.
there a reason we shouldn't do
In the
that?
presumption that they are going to be doing some of this work from home?
Yes, I would assume, so that's why.
I would assume they would be on the domain to be able to communicate with you, so they would have to have our device for that reason.
Okay. Just wanted to clarify.
Yep,
So
good question.
a device will be made available to them.
And I don't know if we mentioned in the evenings are required. Evening meetings may be required.
Will be.
Will be
Are
required.
required.
There's no
There's no if.
Right, there was nothing in there. So,
Yeah.
And flexible schedule, too.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Flexible schedule. Yeah.
Committee meetings that may be during the day, if you want somebody there for policy.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and if we're hiring somebody for this few hours a week, there's a very good chance they may have other work. And if that's the case, we may have to take their schedule into consideration when we schedule subcommittee meetings. Just another kitten to herd when we're trying to get ourselves organized.
Maybe somebody that has flexibility to their schedule too.
Yes, well, yeah, yeah.
Any other recommendations, suggestions, changes?
Mr. Mayor, just refresh my memory. Have we mentioned in the job description, will they need to be quarried, fingerprinted, whatever?
Yep.
So we
Yeah.
may want to implement something, you know, giving them the information that if you are hired, you will need to successfully pass a quarry or fingerprint. And do we want them subject to training or seminar on student privacy, confidentiality laws as well, since they may be
I
dealing
think one of
with?
the things I sent over was open meeting law and
Right, training in the open
public
meeting.
records
and-
request
Right,
preferred.
right. But then I didn't know if we also wanted, because they'll be dealing with potentially CBA negotiations as part of the negotiations subcommittee, if we need them to do any work for us on that. So there could be an interplay of student confidentiality as well.
Yep, excellent.
Do we know of trainings that are available to someone?
Some are online. I've seen them on the,
There's open meeting law stuff and
Yep.
and
Yeah.
public record stuff
So
through
that's
the,
something, if the person was not previously working in this kind of domain, we could require that they take this online course?
Yep.
And it just struck me as well, as a public employee, they may need to be subject to taking the ethics, online ethics exam as well.
That's another brutal exam.
So,
On my to-do list, right. What was the thing that you said before? I want to make sure I have all the notes down.
Open meeting.
The Corey thing. So do we have verbiage for new employee, all new, so any new employee in the district has to be
Right.
quarried, fingerprinted, all that. So we have, do we have something already in?
They don't make it to the payroll stage until they've done all that.
Does it say it
Does
on-
it need to say that in the job description?
No, it
Mass
should,
general law, it's
yeah.
a requirement of
It's a requirement.
so.
Okay.
So for the purposes of the job description, does a line need to go in that says anything about it? No,
We don't. We have
that's
No, we
just
wouldn't.
part of
We
the
would.
application.
And I would also suggest the mandated training we just talked about, because they should be familiar with,
Agreed.
which is now updated on the website. Just been done.
And that, but that doesn't go in the job description.
No, no,
No.
no, but that would all be part of a packet of HR
Right.
upon hiring.
Right. But we do want to put familiarity with, or that subjected to a course on open meeting law and regulations in the job description.
Subjected, yes.
Or,
We want you to know Robert's rules by heart.
that should go. I just want to know what pieces I need to add to the job description to make it a go.
I trust you.
So, up to 15 hours, $20 an hour, flexible schedule, evening hours, take an online course, and the other edits that we had passed along.
Good.
Good?
May I ask one more quick question? In terms of a space to house them here, as a consideration. Right,
We can just move the water cooler out of that little space. It could fit in there.
I mean, it is a consideration as well as training on the part of the people who currently do the job. I mean, that's embedded in the description, being trained, but where would they be housed? Some of this might be done from home, but some you'd have to physically come to central
Yeah,
office.
I mean, my guess is that the majority of the times that they would need to be on site, they're gonna be involved in meetings with us. So they wouldn't not necessarily need a desk.
A filing cabinet
Yeah,
with
I mean,
school committee
certainly a
things.
space to sit temporarily. I don't know. I don't know.
We can figure out the
What
rest.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure out how to get our pencils and pens and a notepad. We'll figure it out. That stuff I'm not worried about.
We don't wanna hide them in a closet where they feel isolated, but,
No, we have some ideas.
okay, terrific. We'll leave that up to you guys.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome.
Any further input?
So I can put all this together, and then do I give it to Patty?
Mo-
Who posts? What's the next step?
Approval by your school committee, yes?
Motion to
Approval by everyone?
approve as amended and
Okay.
corrected.
So that's
Any
done.
discussion? Need a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carries. You're on your own. Have a
Pat,
good
you would
time.
post with Patty Brown.
Pat, just,
Yes.
okay, perfect. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Acceptance of donations and gifts. SanDisk, 1,200 filled backpacks to be distributed at Whitcomb School and 2 pocket folders to be shared with all the schools. $36,200 worth of product, so.
Fantastic.
Motion to accept with gratitude.
Motion made and seconded to accept with gratitude. Life Touch National School Studios, Richer School Student Activities, $1,074.67.
I think he's clumping them all together.
Voting
Motion
all
to-
together?
Are we doing them all together?
Doing it
We
all
don't
We didn't
vote on
vote on
them.
that? I thought we voted on it.
No.
You didn't vote
On the vote of SanDisk, all those in favor? Opposed? Carries.
Okay, then.
Life Touch.
Motion to approve.
Motion made and seconded to approve. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Carries. MADESE, FY17, Title I, $883,651.
Motion to accept.
Motion made and seconded to accept. Any discussion?
I have a question.
Yes?
This is just lump sum. It's not
That's the
divvied
total
up?
amount of the grant. What happens is we spend it, and then as we spend it, we pull the money down from the state.
Yep. Thank you.
On the motion to approve, all those in favor? Opposed? Carries. Reports of subcommittees. Ms. Matthews.
I'm happy to say that we have reached a tentative agreement with the custodial unit. And an MOU will be forthcoming shortly. It was a very short, sweet, wonderful negotiation.
Fantastic, we love that.
And we are opening tomorrow with cafeteria. Our last one for a while.
This Tennessee. Nothing.
I have nothing.
Mrs. Ryan?
I do.
You do?
Our school
We
building
have a
committee. No, our school building committee, is that what we are? School building committee has interviews this Thursday at this very spot we're interviewing 4 of the firms to be our project. Yeah, OPM, Friday. We narrowed it down to, well, the subcommittee narrowed it down to 4 firms.
Is that to do the feasibility study?
To do the feasibility study of Richer.
Then from there, we get to work.
Yep.
Woohoo. Want to give an update?
We're just pleased. We went through 13 applications. We're taking the top 4 to come in and do a formal presentation to the committee. And afterwards, we're going to recommend them in order to the mayor for negotiations for the fee. And also, I've been to Boston. We've entered our first budget into the ProPay system for MSBA, so we can start paying bills as well. So here we go.
It's starting.
Excellent.
Any other reports? Seeing none. Members forum. Any members? Entertain a motion.
Move to adjourn.
Motion made and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor? Opposed? Carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.